Praveen Kumaran. Chapter 1. The snow was falling hard and fast now, no longer the light flurries that had swirled prettily around him less than 20 minutes ago. The wind had picked up too, buffeting him hard. He clamped his knees harder against the tank and tightened his grip on the handlebars of his only companion on this journey, his motorcycle. He'd felt the marked drop in temperature earlier, had known that if he were unlucky enough for it to snow it would lie. He hadn't been overly concerned then, making fairly good time along the 100-mile stretch of bad, steeply inclined road that wound its way through the Himalayas. Now the thickening blanket of white covering the world around him was worrying him a little, even with 350cc of power from his touring motorcycle. It was heavy, laden down with as many bags as he could fit, yet the front wheel slipped every now and then as the light snow that had fallen earlier turned to ice beneath the thicker covering that was rapidly building on top. Fighting to hold the bike steady was growing harder thanks to the increasing numbness in his fingers. He could feel the bitter cold bite at them in spite of his thick padded, leather gloves, knowing chilblains was already the best he could hope for, he didn't want to think about the worst. His feet too were suffering, his gear changes made from past experience and muscle memory rather than by any sense of touch. His heavy biking boots were old and worn, the left sporting a split that let water in. Infiltrated by snow that had melted then frozen, they couldn't offer any protection from the elements anymore. He couldn't feel his feet at all, taking for granted they were positioned where they should be and doing what they were supposed to be doing. The tires kicked up loose snow as he drove, adding to the powdery layer that had landed on his legs, melted, and was now freezing. The numbness was working its way up and would soon reach his frozen knees. Conditions were growing treacherous. He knew it couldn't be any later than 4 p.m. but already the sun had dipped behind the high mountains and the sky had darkened further with the sudden storm. He longed for the short time ago he'd seen it last. It felt like a lifetime ago but in reality had only been 2 hours, still sunny when he'd passed through the last checkpoint around 2 p.m.